Fear not, they say. Be not afraid. Fear is the mind killer. Two of those lines appear in the Christian scriptures many are reading around this time today. One of them is a line from Frank Herbert's novel, Dune. I'm guessing you know which is which, but if you don't, welcome to Unitarian Universalism. You will be very happy here with us. All three phrases have been running through my head non-stop over the past few weeks because fear seems to be lacing just about everything we do right now. It's in the orders we receive restricting our movements from place to place. It's in the news we should probably all stop watching. It chirps, it scrolls, it unfolds on the screens, pulsing in our houses, in our pockets, in our phones. Fear is in the streets as we move to be farther from the people on the sidewalk with us, and it's in many of our hearts. Now, fear is not really anything new to many of us, and I have to count myself among those people. This week, I was trying to remember some of my earliest memories of fears. And I hope that she does not mind because she may be watching, but I have to tell this story that involves my sister. For she had this little habit of instilling fear in me as a kid growing up together. It was all in good fun. It wasn't any kind of tormenting or telling scary stories, nothing like that. It was a little more comical, maybe a little more slapstick than that. See, I had a bit of a, shall we say, dramatic reaction to being startled when I was little. I still actually startle pretty easily if someone sneaks up on me. So, maybe my hunting and gathering ancestors were good at spotting dangers lurking in the bushes as the hunting party was going around, and they would say things like, just put Fitzgerald up there in front. If anything moves, he'll scream, because that's what would happen. It was pretty comical. I know she would sometimes know that I was coming into the kitchen or some other room of the house, and she'd hide behind the fridge before I came through in the doorway, and she'd just silently enter the room or sneak up behind me, and she'd jump out, and then I would scream or sometimes drop whatever I was holding. It might, I know, in telling it, it sounds a little mean, and you shouldn't think that of her. It was really mostly in good fun and comedy. And blessedly, I can say in this time of social distancing, not a lot of people are sneaking up on me, so that has been a bit of a blessing. But more seriously, one of the clearest memories of fear as a child I had was after I was being particularly self-righteous one day and was sent to my room. See, I had done nothing wrong, I promise, I swear. But I was still sent to my room, and my parents didn't really know who started what out there in the living room, and just probably needed some peace and quiet. So to prove to my parents that they made this grave error, I ran away. Now, this wasn't like a 5-year-old packing a lunchbox and making it as far as he could get, maybe to the front door or the front yard and stopping their running away endeavor. No, I was old enough to know what I was doing. I was in the 4th grade, and from this prison of my room, I raised the window, popped out the screen, and started walking. I walked to a park with a playground not too far from my house, and I hid up in the top of one of those tall spiral-shaped slides. You know, it's almost like I was in a little turret, like in a castle, and I enjoyed feeling like this little prisoner hiding away in his castle tower. And all I did really was just sit there in the park. Some older kids were there, and they didn't give me any trouble. They were having some older kid discussions that I would never dream of repeating here in Sunday Easter worship, but let's just say that they were speaking very enthusiastically and getting with the spirit of this time of this season about their hopes of one day, let's say, taking part in bringing new life into the world. I certainly learned a lot that day listening to them. More than I think I wanted to, in fact, but as the sun sort of set, it struck me that I should probably go home at some point. Besides, I was getting hungry, which is one of the way a lot of us make decisions these days. I thought that I had probably taught my family enough of a lesson by now. They'd probably be really sorry and realize the error of their ways. I'm sure you all know that's exactly, I'm sure, how they were feeling. See, I was actually born self-righteous, my friends, and when I arrived home, it's not just something I do for you. My parents didn't seem at all like they had learned any lesson. The look in their eyes did not say, "Oh, well, thank heavens our saintly son is home." It was more like they were looking up from a catalog for bars on fourth graders' windows just long enough to make me realize what I'd done. Then they called the cops. Not to arrest me, but to stop them from looking for me. That's where they had gone. That was their fear. And the officer who was dispatched to look for me, he didn't just stop looking. He decided to come back to the house and see me. And this tall man in a modified cowboy hat, this was in Texas, the sheriff visited me after spending the afternoon looking for me, or sometime. And I don't really remember what he said, probably something like I could not fully appreciate the danger of what I'd done at my age, but that I likely will someday. But until then, he said, take my word for it, don't ever do that again. I'm not sure that's what he said, I'd only be guessing, but whatever it was that passed between us, I only began to be afraid of what I'd done when he turned and walked away toward his car. See, sometimes we don't realize we're supposed to be afraid until after what we've done. So today, many of you know, is one of those days in the calendar of our church, of our lives, of this world, when there is more going on for us than we could ever really cover in worship. Today is Easter Sunday in the lives of Christians all over the world. This holy, holy day when the deepest mystery of the Christian faith was posed, was revealed, was given to its followers, that Jesus died, was risen, and will come again. In many Christian churches, this acknowledgement of these articles of faith are literally introduced with the words, the mystery of faith. And we're also in the middle of the week of Passover, when the Jewish members of our human family recall the terrible fears of servitude and slavery and the miracle of being spared the greatest fear of any parent, the loss of a child, after the angel of death passed over the homes of the Hebrew people enslaved in Egypt and did not take the lives of their firstborn sons. And the earth itself is coming alive once more in this spring season, celebrated throughout the world in such a wide and beautiful spectrum of celebrations. And here in progress in the Hawaiian faith, we are now in the planting and growing season, after the time of the makahiki has ended and the crops are starting to take root and to grow. Yeah, this is one of those Sundays when the intersecting, interconnecting, interchanging ways of being, of believing, wash over this world in beautiful, transformative ways. It is simply not your typical Sunday. And we may not have another typical Sunday, friends, for quite a while. In fact, you might say there will never be anything typical about gathering together for church or practicing one's faith in a group together again. The ways we practice faith, the routines around our religion, are changed forever. In Israel, some friends, some conservative Jewish friends, told me that their rabbis have united in warning that to gather together to pray the Kaddish, one of the most holy rituals upon the passing of a loved one, in these times could be equated to committing a violent crime under Jewish law. I noticed even a month ago, holy water is gone from churches, and communion, meant to be the physical embodiment of the purest symbol of a broken body, is not being offered or received in many, many churches. Rituals central to the expression of faiths, the most holy sacraments of faith, even these are halted now. They're halted now. And it makes me wonder, like many of you, I am sure, what it says about the faith when rituals meant to give meaning and holiness to our lives by remembering death cannot even be practiced amid one of the deadliest times we have ever seen in our lives. It is startling. And trust me, I know about startling. See, I love ritual. I love routine. Anyone who's tried to call me with a non-emergency before 9 a.m. on a weekday knows this well. The nature of any ritual, of any routine, depends on a predictable course of events. And friends, there ain't nothing predictable about what we're facing now. Routines everywhere have been knocked on their butts out of fear. Fear can startle us at times, like someone around the next corner. It pops out of news stories. It passes us on the sidewalk and seemingly unfazed, perhaps, in an unmasked person who cannot secure even the basic suggestions of community consciousness. Fear can be ravaging our sleep. It's certainly ravaging our conversations. It's hard to talk about much else right now. But some fears we don't even realize we're supposed to have until it's too late. Maybe we hugged someone 2 days ago and now they're sneezing. Maybe we already traveled by plane from somewhere before we knew what a quarantine was. It's like we tried to walk calmly through fear only to be informed of how afraid we were supposed to be by a cop in a cowboy hat. And some may be asking, where is your faith? Others may ask, where is your church? Where is your belief in something loving in the universe, in God, in fairness, in justice, in love? Where is what we need every week when even the closest rituals to bring us to our faiths are canceled, are postponed, are scattered? Where is your faith? That's easy. It's everywhere. Friends, faith does not come easy. If it did, it wouldn't be faith. It would be more like a Costco membership. The world's great faiths were born out of a wrenching, terrible, catastrophic pain and nearly crippling fear. And in a nation like this one, where overall prosperity, certainly not for everyone, overall prosperity, security, and cohesion seem on the surface generally to move along predictively positive courses. In a nation like this, we forgot. When decades of uninterrupted comfort eased us from year to year to year, we forgot. When centuries, really, of unperturbed habits, rituals, when they etched and scored into us like habits of the soul into our very genetic makeup, we forgot. We forgot that faith was born to address the entirely unforeseeable, entirely unfathomable, entirely unbelievable events that show up in our lives that none of us see coming. Faith starts from what we can't see or predict. Rituals start from what we can see and predict. One of my least favorite things I ever hear on this topic is the phrase, the opposite of fear is faith. Man, I tell you, if I could curse a sentence, I would curse that one. To tell someone that because they are afraid that there must be something wrong with their faith is irreligious and blasphemous. Since we're getting serious, I know it's still a UU church, and I use the word blasphemous. You can come and get me. I want to hear about it. The sentence should go like this. The child of fear is faith. We are wrapped now together in what feels like a shroud of fear. Yet many have never been in closer touch with those they love. Relationships are strained and tested when cooped up in the same living space as our families, of trying to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish at this time, but can't sometimes. They are strained with our loved ones under the same roof, for sure. But I have watched relationships mature in a matter of weeks in ways that often take years. It's been astounding. The fear that forces us together now, not only those here in worship together, but all over the world, it is giving life to new forms of faith. Faith in one another, faith in ourselves, faith in something more powerful than all of us, in ways that some religions only ever dream of doing, only ever reached to accomplish in the hearts of their followers. It is like something is doing for us now what we could not do for ourselves for centuries. In the Hawaiian religion, kalo is taking root in the lo'i right now. The foundational embodiment, the first child, haola, of the Hawaiian people who died and was yet reborn as the kalo plant after the tears of a mother over his grave brought this first child to life once more. That is happening now. In the Jewish faith, the family stays strong. The final curse wrought by the Egyptian slaveholders, the curse of the death of the firstborn, passed over the Hebrew people and were set free from fear and tyranny. That is happening right now. And in the heart of the Christian world, the tomb is empty this morning. Angels, saviors are arriving to remind those terrified by the risen life of the child before them to say, "Be not afraid. Fear not." All of we, children of the world, are coming together, must be coming together. In fear, yes. It is a uniting force, a shared vulnerability, a shocking, startling change in our lives, but also in faith, yes. Like the siblings each one of us really are to one another. Children together of this world who once may have scared each other and now need each other, care for each other, are devoted to each other for survival, for comfort, for care, and for love. Oh, don't you let anyone tell you fear is winning. Something new in the world today is happening. This world is forever altered. Something new beckons us to the church of the world, of the universe. It calls us to its altar. A new faith rises. A new faith is born of this age in the world. A faith in each other, a faith in our siblings, a faith in what truly connects each and every one of us. I don't want to startle you, my friends, but we are each part of something brand new in this world. The only question now, what are we going to do about it? May it ever be so. Blessed be, and amen.